Hi, in this video we're going to answer two questions. The first one, what's the difference between a square root and the square root of a number? So if you look at the number 25, we know that 25, the square root of 25 is going to be 5. We all say that the square root of 25 is 5 because obviously we know that 5 times 5 will give us 25, right? But note that negative 5 times negative 5 also gives us 25. So in reality, the square root of 25 is not just 5, it's also negative 5. So there are two square roots for 25. For 36, square root of 36 is positive 6 as well as negative 6. So there are two square roots. So when I say what is a square root of 36, I can say positive 6 or negative 6. Negative 6 is a square root. Positive 6 is a square root. So what's the difference between the square root and a square root? So specifically, the square root means it's the positive square root only. So if I ask you what is the square root of 36, you have to say 6. You cannot put negative 6 in it. What is the square root of 49? It has to be 7. You cannot put negative 9 in it. Unless the question says what is a square root, then you could have put negative 7. It would be correct. But if the question is what is the square root of 49, you have to only pick the positive square root. Now, it's also connected to something. Let's just quickly talk about perfect numbers. What is a perfect number? Numbers that have a whole number as a square root. For example, 25 has 5 as the square root. 36 has 6 as the square root. 49 has 7 as the square root. So these are the numbers which are called perfect numbers. So if you think about it, you have 1's a perfect number. 1 times 1 is 1. So square root of 1, is going to be 1. Does 2 have a square root? Does 2 have a square root? No. Does 3 have a square root? No. Does 4 have a square root? Yes, because the square root of 4 is 2. 5, if you check all the other numbers like this, 7, 8, and the next one is going to be 9. So if you think you're taking a number and you're squaring it, like 1 times 1, 1, 2 times 2, 4, the next perfect number is 3 times 3, 9, the next perfect number is 4 times 4, 16. So you can also write this as, connect this as this 2 square is equal to 3 square is equal to 4 square. The next number is going to be 5 square, which is 25, 36, 49, etc. Now, what about the numbers in between that comes in between over here? So if we think about it, when you put square root of 2, it's going to be 1.41, and it's going to be a lot of decimals. Square root of 3 is again going to be 1 point and a lot of decimals. So all we can say about square root of radical 2 and radical 3 is it lies between the whole numbers 1 and 2. It lies between 1 and 2. All we can say about these three radicals is that they're all going to be 2 point and some decimal places. It's going to be 2 point and a lot of decimal places, right? They're all going to lie between 2 and 3. All these are going to lie between 2 and 3. Or these two are going to lie between 1 and 2. So, and these are decimals which does not end or doesn't repeat. Remember, just like 2 negatives gives a positive, does not end, and does not repeat. 2 negatives will make an irrational decimal. This is a easy way to connect and remember. 2 negatives make a positive. Everyone can remember that. 2 negatives in case of decimals. 2 negative in the sense that two questions. Does it end? No. Does it repeat? No. So when you ask these two questions, if both answers are no, 2 negatives makes an irrational decimal. So we know that all these numbers in between the perfect numbers, when you take the square roots, they're all going to be irrationals. They're irrationals. This is another set of irrational numbers.